Hey friends, how are you? Thanks for joining me. This is an important topic and we do not talk about it enough. I am super excited to have Dr. Brittany Lashua join us today. She will be here any second and I've been trying to figure out, while I'm waiting for the guest, should I start with my dad jokes? Should I sing? No, none of that sounds right. But maybe I'll figure out something here. But Dr. Britt's going to be joining us momentarily. There we go. And we're going to be in our little boxes together any second. There's a box. There she is. Hey, friends, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining me today and talking about this super important topic. So, I want to, before we jump into your bio and all the questions and all the fun, I want to address the elephant in the room, why we're talking about this. I personally feel like, especially as Christian women, we don't address this enough. We don't talk to our friends about it, and it's a vital part of ourselves and our relationships. What's your feeling on this?
Well, it's really a part of who we are. That, like, our sexuality is a part of who we are, and if we're not talking about it, we're missing it because we're missing that holistic focus of who we actually are.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So, Dr. Britt, tell us a little bit about your bio and why this subject in particular is important to you and how you can help our friends today.
Yeah, so I have my doctorate in counseling, so I spend a lot of time with people, couples, women, and I'm specialized in sex therapy. That is a big part of what I do. And so I literally just spend time with people, helping them allow this part of themselves to be there, especially women and especially mamas. Sometimes
Yes.
part is really, really lost. And so that is a part of that. And then also my dissertation was completely on sex and sexuality. So it's on my brain all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so you are the right person to help us out today. So, I had a lady I was coaching a few months ago, and she came to me and said, Jen, I'm tired all the time. I'm home with two babies, preschool and toddler, and they're clinging to me all day. My husband wants sex all the time, and I am just not there. I don't want it. Last thing I want is to be touched. She said, I know this is hurting my relationship, but how do I turn this around? Like, what do I do? Because I don't want anything to do with that right now. So, what do you say to those tired mamas that know it's important, but they just are not interested right now?
Well, it's first of all, it's normal. It's normal for mamas to start feeling touched out.
Yeah.
That's like, just nobody else touch me anymore.
Yes.
And then your spouse starts to get your leftovers because you have nothing to give. And then it's hard for them because they're
Yeah.
like, what? Like, you let our kid paw all over you. Why can't I paw on you? Like, um, and so I think item number one is to figure out what works for you that is not how you cannot give leftovers. So sometimes that means that you snuggle in bed earlier and like you wake up, you set your alarm like 10 minutes earlier and you just snuggle with your person. That you're still getting that physical touch. Because a lot of times too, for men, because sex is connected, like I do the circle. So sex is connected to emotional connection for men. And if women get that emotional connection, they're more likely to be open to sex.
Ah,
When it feels like you're not getting that emotional connection, like literally he's just touching me because he wants to have sex. Well, maybe, yes, because he's deprived and he feels like he's in a desert. And so he's like, yes, I'll just take anything that you give me. But
yeah.
but that doesn't always mean that he's touching you for sex. But this is this thing that we tell ourselves as women is that's the only reason that he wants me. No, he's thirsty, and if you'll give him a drink, he's definitely going to take it. But thinking about how you can be present, what can I give? Um, if it's like I'm going to give those longer, I'm like I'm gonna give him a big old kiss when he comes in first thing, because it's this other part where it's like a body in motion stays in motion, and
Mm,
motion or a body at rest stays at rest. It's Newton's law working against us. So it's
yeah.
like, okay, I know that my mama hat is on and my sexy wife hat is off. So it is that piece where we go, okay, I need to consciously take this off. And so something that I also encourage those mamas to do is literally to set an alarm. I know this might seem silly to you if you're out there, mom, to set an alarm on your phone that reminds you to think about sex. Like for 15 seconds or even 30 seconds of something that you enjoy, something that you like, or a really good experience, something that you can draw from, because women aren't always, rarely, thinking about sex. It's just
Right.
our brains. I'm focused on being a mom. I'm not thinking about sex. Like, threw up on me, or I'm wiping off poop. Like, joking me. So to go, all right, I'm going to consciously think about sex, because our brain is the most powerful sex organ,
Uh-huh.
most powerful. So if we can engage this, it will help our body engage at a later time.
Oh, that's so good. So good. So much in there, Dr. Britt. So I love the part where you're connecting the emotions. That makes so much sense because I think so many of us moms and women, if we don't have that emotional connection, can definitely feel like we're starting to shut down and they come invade our space and we're like, what are you doing? You know, like you haven't even talked to me all day or something like that. So I love that, that circle. That makes so much sense. So let's speak to the other mom who maybe's been married longer, maybe has kids in school or, older school, things like that. And they're like, we're kind of in this pattern. It's mundane. It's sex is this, speak to those moms. What do we do to break out of the everyday? How can we turn this ship around?
So some of the principles are still true, that you have to think about sex, that if it feels mundane and boring and we just do the same thing all the time, well, then you're not really going to be interested in it in the first place. So going, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about it. I'm going to remember those experiences that I've had that were so good. I'm going to think about that. I'm going to think about the things that I enjoy, and bringing your mind and your heart back to that. The other part is, especially for couples that have been married for a long time, they forget how to make love with their clothes on.
Yeah.
I think about teenagers, especially the ones that are like, all right, I'm not having sex till I'm married, but I'm gonna, I'm gonna kiss you like it is my last kiss that I'm ever gonna, that couples, especially ones that have been married for a long time, stop doing that.
Yes.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times couples sit on my couch and they can't even remember the last time they like kissed. That wasn't just a goodbye or a hello kiss. Well,
Hmm.
then sex is not going to be interesting. You're not even going to want to have it, because you're not engaging that emotion center that you have that goes, oh, I like that, and I like that, and that feels good. And then all of a sudden I'm open, because women have passive desire often, more often than they have active desire. Now, those mamas that are past childbearing years, they may not have that ovulation cue, but that's normally the cue biologically for women that are like, oh man, this like sounds like a good idea. Like, I'm thinking about it any other 27 or so days of the month, but right now I am.
Right.
Knowing your own biology, and then choosing, sorry, my phone is like blowing up, and choosing to be intentional about that, where it's like, okay, I'm focused on this. And so much of it, I keep bringing it back to the brain of like, where's your brain focused on? Like, man, I love to kiss my husband. Like, why don't you think about what it would be like to just have the best kisses that you've ever. All right. And then that will get you out of some of that monotony of like, oh man, it's just the same thing. I'm so tired of this.
Yeah, that's good. So bring it back to the basics. That's awesome. Daniel and I have something called the NSH. It is a non-sexual hug, and it is just like an embrace. And so every once in a while, he'll be like, "Let's do an NSH," or I'm like, I just need an NSH. Like I need to be embraced. I need to be held with no expectations. And I think that that kind of ties into the emotional part that you were talking about. Sometimes we just need to be understood emotionally before we can go there physically. And then, like you said, for the other side of the moms, it's just back to the basics and just enjoy that romantic kiss. So last question, and really anything else that you wanted to add on to that. I know that communication can be a huge barrier in sex, and we've talked about it emotionally. What can moms do if this is a sore subject for them in their marriage right now? What can moms do on the communication side? And it may not even be their fault, but what do they do to help this area in regards to communication?
That is such a big and loaded question. I'm probably going to try to answer it in steps a little bit. Is the first part is that it's going to take bravery. Um, it's going to take bravery. And the second part is to ask the question of how could I love you better in the bedroom? How could I love you better in the bedroom? What would that look like? And we have to brace ourselves for what that answer is going to be, because sometimes it is not at all what we want to hear, because really it's like, well, I'm not getting enough, or the frequency, or like, the quality, I wish we did this thing, or it seems like your brain is never here, or whatever it is. So it's knowing and asking the question of how can I love you better in the bedroom. It's also actually looking at yourself to figure out what it is that it would take for you to be open to sex, to be open to that connection. And then you can even have a conversation about it. I find that mamas are so used to giving and giving and giving and give all the time that they don't even know what they want or like anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
tired. I'm just tired. Just don't, I'm tired. Like I Pluto chop. I love
Right.
my mom just said that they need to create an atmosphere for dialogue. Reading a book together on intimacy is a great tool.
Oh, that's good. Yes. Yes.
Art. Um, and so there's this place. Thanks for watching, Mom. I love you. Um,
I
that
like you too, darling.
that there's a place where we have to be able to ask ourselves, well, like if I were to be open to sex, what would that take? Is that a night without the kids? Is that, man, if I could like just take a bath and be clean. Like I don't want to think about like barf or poop, or I've just
Yeah.
come from the gym and then you want me, and like my brain's not even there. So what
Mhm.
for you as a woman to activate that? So you need to know that as a part of that communication. And I often say that sex communication that people have while they're having sex is also a picture of what their communication looks like afterwards. Like if you can't even say, hey, I like that, or I don't like that, or give some
Yeah.
faster, slower, uh, let's change, or whatever it is, those simple cues, then you're going to have a hard time talking about it outside of session, or not outside of session, out, well, that is a session,
Yeah.
outside of the bedroom, literally, because it's so hard to even say what you want. And again, that comes back to those mamas even being able to look at their self and going, okay, I like that, or I don't like that. And that can also make sex good or bad. If you can't even communicate what feels good or what you don't want, or like, then that experience is not going to be enjoyable. One, because no one is a mind reader, and two, because
Right.
we are complicated, Jennifer. We are complicated.
Yep.
What feels good one day does not feel good the next day. What in the world was God doing when he did that? Well, creating this space for us to talk about it,
Hmm.
to talk about it.
That's awesome. Awesome. I feel like we all like just got a free therapy session. So thank you, Dr. Britt. That was amazing. Can you please share with us how people can connect with you and follow you on Instagram or wherever?
Yeah, you can find me at literally at Britt, Britt, Lashua, Lashua. That is a good place to find me. I have a private practice here in Frisco, which is Mind and Heart Counseling if you are wanting counseling. But otherwise, just find me on Instagram. I'm always dropping some of those therapy bombs, especially for women and changing
Yes.
because who we are as women, how we see ourselves, literally impacts how we interact in the world all the time, which also impacts the bedroom.
So good, so good. Thank you so, so much. And yes, friends, please follow Dr. Britt because she's got some great wisdom and things to share. So thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Britt. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.